Welcome to Tech Talk Central. I'm Nathan.
And I'm Sarah. Great to have you with us again.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. Today we're doing a deep dive into, well, the tough stuff. Rugged smartphones.
That's right. We've got source material, mainly Amazon product pages, for two specific models, the Samsung Galaxy XCover7 and the DOOGEE S200.
And our goal here is pretty simple. Cut through the specs, look at what users are saying, and figure out what makes a good rugged phone, using these two as examples.
Exactly. And hopefully help you figure out which one, if either, might be right for your needs.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Both are 5G unlocked Android phones. Look like they're pretty recent releases, maybe late 2024, early 2025, based on the listings.
Yep. And clearly aimed at folks who need something tougher than your average smartphone. Think job sites, outdoors, or just general clumsiness, maybe.
Yeah, that too. All right, first things first, ruggedness. How tough do these sources say they are?
Okay, this is interesting. The DOOGEE S200 source is really explicit. It lists IP68, IP69K, and MIL STD 810H certifications.
Right, the usual suspects for toughness: water, dust, drops.
Pretty much. It mentions 1.5 meters water resistance for 30 minutes, high-pressure water jets, dust-proof, and drops from 1.5 meters, standard military ruggedness tests.
And do people actually find it that tough? What's the user feedback like?
Oh, yeah. Reviews use words like very rugged, durable. They say it handles drops, rain, dust. Someone literally called it strong like hammer.
Strong like hammer. Okay, that's memorable. How about the Samsung XCover7?
Samsung also lists IP68, similar water resistance, maybe 35 minutes instead of 30. Drop resistance from 1.5 meters onto concrete. And MIL STD 810H compliant.
Compliant, is there a catch?
Well, there's an asterisk in the source material. It says compliance does not guarantee ruggedness or use in extreme conditions.
So they passed the test, but they're not exactly shouting about it like DOOGEE seems to be.
Kind of feels that way. And one customer review really picks up on this. They found it little rugged compared to an old Alcatel they had.
Yeah.
Mentioned the plastic edges felt like they transmit shock, not absorb it.
Wow, okay. So maybe a difference in philosophy or build, even with similar certifications on paper.
Could be. And you see it in the size, too. The DOOGEE is heavier, 364 grams. The Samsung is lighter, 240 grams, noticeably slimmer, too.
That's a big weight difference. Is the DOOGEE's bulk seen as good or bad?
People mention it, yeah, thick and heavy. But often they see it as part of the toughness, a trade-off for the battery and durability. The Samsung is easier to carry, maybe, but maybe that user was right about less material to absorb impacts.
Gotcha. So DOOGEE leans into the tank vibe. Samsung maybe tries to be rugged and a bit more phone-like.
It seems that way from these sources.
Okay, what about the screens? What do you look at?
The DOOGEE has a 6.72-inch FHD plus IPS screen. The big spec here is the 120 Hz refresh rate.
Nice and smooth scrolling.
Exactly. Users mentioned that. The Samsung has a 6.6-inch PLS LCD screen, similar resolution. It lists 600 nits brightness and Gorilla Glass Victus Plus protection.
How about using them outside? Any comments on brightness?
Yeah, actually, feedback on both suggests they could be brighter in direct sun. One DOOGEE user mentioned it, and an XCover7 user said it was not very luminous outdoors. So maybe not the best for really bright conditions, either one.
Good to know. But the DOOGEE has that weird extra screen, right? On the back?
It does. A little 1.32-inch AMOLED on the back. Shows time, notifications, music controls, weather. Stuff like that. Customers called it innovative. Fun.
I can see that being genuinely useful, actually. Quick glance without opening the main screen, especially if you're in an awkward spot.
Yeah, clever touch.
All right, performance. How fast are these things? Chipsets, RAM?
Okay, DOOGEE S200 has a Dimensity 7050 processor, but the headline is the RAM, 32 gigabytes.
32. Is that all physical RAM?
No, it's 12 GB physical plus 20 GB virtual. It uses storage space to boost the RAM count. Still a huge number. It also has 256 GB storage, expandable, and runs Android 14.
How does that translate? Do users notice the speed?
They do. Feedback mentions smooth multitasking, fast file transfers, quick and responsive. One user switched from a Samsung A53 5G and said the S200 was better in every single way.
Wow, high praise. And the Samsung XCover7.
It uses a Dimensity 6100 Plus processor, comes with 6 GB of physical RAM, 128 GB storage, also expandable, runs Android 14 too with Samsung's One UI.
So, quite a bit less RAM. Any user feedback on the Samsung speed?
Not directly comparing speed, no. One user did mention finding Samsung software One UI a bit complex with too many settings, preferred something simpler for work.
So DOOGEE seems to be really pushing performance and users are noticing it. Samsung, maybe left focus there in the feedback provided.
Seems fair. Yeah.
Okay, the big one for rugged phones, battery life. And the sources show a massive difference.
Massive is the word. The DOOGEE S200 packs a 10,100 mAh battery.
10,000. That's like double or more than most phones.
Exactly. Specs claim crazy standby time, 25 hours video playback. It supports 33W fast charging and reverse charging, so you can use it as a power bank.
Does it actually last that long in real life?
Users say yes. Easily lasts me 2-3 days of heavy use. Battery lasts about 2 days. Amazing. Holds very long. The feedback is consistently great on battery.
2 to 3 days. Okay, that's impressive. And the Samsung?
The XCover7 has a 4050 mAh battery, less than half the DOOGEE. It also supports 33W fast charging.
40-50 mAh. That's more standard. How's the feedback?
It's mixed. One Italian review was pretty blunt. Con la batteria non arrivata la sera, with the battery you don't reach the evening. They compared it badly to an old Alcatel with a 10Ah battery like the DOOGEE.
Oof. Doesn't reach the evening is not what you want from a rugged phone.
Definitely not. Though another German review said, good battery life. So, conflicting reports. But that very specific negative comment, plus the huge capacity difference, makes you wonder.
Yeah, the DOOGEE's consistent positive feedback on its huge battery really stands out against that. What about cameras?
Different approaches here, too. The DOOGEE has a quad setup, 100MP main, 20MP night vision, 20MP front, 2MP macro.
Wait, night vision? Like actual night vision?
Apparently so. The source mentions it, and users praise it, say it's surprisingly useful, works even in low light. One called it fantastic in pitch black.
Huh. That's niche, but potentially really useful for some jobs or outdoor stuff.
Right. The main 100MP camera also gets nods for sharp photos.
And the Samsung camera?
Simpler setup. Single 50MP main camera, 5MP selfie camera, standard stuff like HDR, panorama, 1080p video.
Any user thoughts on the Samsung's camera quality?
Not really in these sources, no. One user wished for a wider angle for video, but that's about it.
Okay. Any other features or usability things that stood out?
Yeah, a few. DOOGEE has a side fingerprint sensor and face unlock. NFC Wi-Fi 6, good GPS support, stereo speakers, dual SIM 5G, and it comes with a charger and screen protector in the box.
Charger included. Nice touch these days. Samsung?
Samsung also has NFC, Wi-Fi 5 though, not 6, good GPS. It has a headphone jack, which is nice.
Oh.
Dual SIM options too. USB-C, box only mentions a cable, likely no charger brick.
Headphone jack is good. But didn't someone complain about a missing feature on the Samsung?
Yes. Big one for one user. No fingerprint scanner. They said it made the phone unusable for quick, secure access, like banking apps, especially compared to older XCover models that apparently had one.
Wow, taking away a feature like that on a work-focused phone seems odd. The DOOGEE has one.
Yep, the DOOGEE source confirms side fingerprint ID.
Okay, that's a key difference for usability. Anything else?
Someone else noted the Samsung's programmable Rapid keys still need the screen unlocked first, which kind of defeats the purpose of Rapid.
Right, so maybe a couple of usability quirks on the Samsung side, according to these reviews.
Seems so. Also, carrier compatibility. The Samsung source is clear, international version not compatible with Verizon Sprint. Works on AT&T, T-Mobile, but maybe not everywhere.
Ouch. Big limitation for U.S. buyers. The DOOGEE.
Lists tons of bands. Users confirmed T-Mobile, Mint Mobile work. One person even got it working on Verizon by swapping an active SIM. So, potentially wider compatibility, maybe needing a little trick for Verizon.
Interesting. More versatile, perhaps. Okay, price. How do they stack up?
The DOOGEE S200 was listed at $349.99, marked down from about $430. The Samsung XCover7 was listed new at $349.99 used.
So, similar price point, maybe slightly cheaper for the DOOGEE currently. What about perceived value?
The DOOGEE gets a lot of positive comments on value. Value for money, lower cost than name brands, true value. People seem happy with what they get for the price.
And the Samsung.
Not much feedback on value for money in these sources. The comments are more about specific features or the lack of them, like the fingerprint scanner or battery life relative to expectations for a rugged phone.
So DOOGEE users seem more vocal about feeling they got a good deal based on this info.
And that's the impression, yeah.
So bringing it all together for you listening, why should you care about all these details?
Well, if you need a genuinely tough phone, both claim ruggedness. But the details matter. How tough do users feel it is? That Samsung asterisk and the user feedback versus the DOOGEE's strong, like, hammer comment, that's a difference in perception.
Right. And your priorities really drive the choice. If battery life is absolutely king and you don't mind a brick,
then the DOOGEE's 10,100 mAh battery, with users getting 2-3 days, is hard to ignore.
If you need serious multitasking power, that huge RAM on the DOOGEE, or maybe unique things like the night vision or the rear screen.
Then the DOOGEE specs seem tailored for that.
But if you prefer a major brand, maybe want something slightly less bulky and aren't on Verizon or Sprint.
The Samsung is an option, but you have to weigh the lower battery capacity, the lack of a fingerprint scanner based on that user feedback, and the potentially less rugged perception.
Yeah, that missing fingerprint scanner could be a real deal breaker for some people needing quick, secure access. And the price DOOGEE seems strong on value according to users.
Exactly. It really comes down to what trade-offs you'll accept.
So it seems rugged isn't just one thing. Digging into battery size, RAM, unique features, user experiences, even missing basics like that fingerprint scanner. It shows the best depends entirely on your specific needs. What can you live with? What can't you live without?
Absolutely. These sources give us a great snapshot, blending specs with real user takes. Always think about how these points match your day-to-day, whether it's a construction site or a mountain trail.
Well, that's our deep dive into the Samsung Galaxy XCover7 versus the DOOGEE S200 based on these sources. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, hope that was helpful. To find the latest prices and deals for these phones, be sure to check out the links in the description below.
And if you found this useful, please subscribe to our channel, Tech Talk Central, for more deep dives into the tech that matters to you.